face this by saying that it is indeed personal and it doesn't have to be the same for you if you're going through a spiritual awakening right now. This is what I experienced, and it doesn't mean that you will experience the same things or that the things that I did will work for you too. So, with all that said, I'll start by saying that I was born Christian Orthodox, and in the first years of my life I was somewhat put by my family to attend the church, and whilst I had no problem with that, and whilst I had a somewhat good relationship with God, that all started to fade when I was maybe 11 or 12. I was interested in the spiritual world or the paranormal in general my whole life, and so was part of my family. So from an early age I started to research things, to join forums, in general to talk to people about the occult. Now, when I was around 15, I have joined a forum. This happened like almost 15 years ago, so I joined this forum, and somehow I gained the trust of the admins, and they did let me in on a restricted section of the forum that contained all these esoteric books. Was that smart? Probably not. I don't think it's smart to give a 15-year-old 500 books about the occult, but here we go. So I downloaded all those books, and I was too scared to read them. I know it may sound stupid, but I couldn't look at them. I couldn't even read the first page. I was terrified. I was terrified beyond measure. I guess I was afraid of the unknown. And then I simply decided to not want to do anything with the occult world. I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't want to read about it. I put walls over walls of protection over me. As in, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to have anything to do with anything whatsoever that is paranormal. And whilst it took a while for all that to settle in, especially in my subconscious, by the time I was 16 or 17, I have already eliminated all that from my life, and I have accepted the muggle. That is a Harry Potter reference, I'm sorry. The mundane, the ordinary, the physical life as it is for an average person that is ignorant. And I don't mean ignorant in a bad way. Sometimes I feel that ignorance is bliss. So a couple of years went by and I turned into a completely different person. I was arrogant, I was ignorant, I was superficial, I was mean sometimes, and that was very different to how I am as a person, to how I was as a child. And I'm not saying that this had to do with me choosing to put all those walls up as protection when I was 15. But it kept me somewhat safe. Well, I thought so. In my mind, that if I acknowledged that none of it exists, then it won't bother me. And the truth is that it works. If you want to believe, you will, and you will open yourself and your eyes to the unknown, then you will see what it is that it has to offer. And if you don't want to, that's also fine. That's also an option. And that's why sometimes when you hear people say, yeah, but look, I don't believe in ghosts, why don't I see a ghost, or why don't weird things happen to me too? And that's their answer. So as I was completely minding my own business, when I was around 25, weird things started happening in my apartment. And I was again afraid to come home at night. It was nothing bad, it was just I didn't want to deal with it. Like, for instance, I would try to go to sleep and my desk was next to my bed, and an object would be dragged across my desk. And obviously I would get up, try to see if something has moved, and I couldn't find anything. Like, for a very long period of time, maybe months, the same thing would happen over and over. And it was like something was trying to get my attention. So one night I came home and I was sick of it. I shouted. I was like, stop doing that. If you have something to say to me, say it. Like, I know I'm oblivious to this kind of signs. So if you want to speak something to me, do it in a dream. And I went to sleep. And guess what? I had the same dream over and over that night. Like maybe 6 or 7 times until I actually acknowledged it. It was like on a loop. It was the same dream, repeating and repeating. In the dream, there were my 2 deities that I work with right now, which are Apollo and Artemis. There was this beautiful marble terrace. It was sunny outside and the sky was beautiful, and there were a couple of clouds, and we were sort of in a temple with a garden, but I couldn't see their faces. I could see 2 people that I knew they had like a very good connection between them, like brother and sister. I didn't see them as a couple. And the only thing that Artemis said to me was fruits. So I had this dream repeating and repeating that night until I woke up. And I was like, okay, fruits, I get it. And I went back to sleep and the dream stopped. So I woke up in the morning and I thought, okay, that's definitely something trying to communicate with me. I didn't even know that people were working with certain deities, such as the Greek ones or the Roman ones or the Egyptian ones. At that time I didn't know anything about that. So I did some research and I asked on a subreddit, what can I do? And they said, okay, well, they said fruits, so make an offering to them. So I did just that. Now, whilst all of this was happening, so all that time when I was afraid, because I kept hearing things in my room, at the same time, I was experiencing some physical symptoms. I was sick. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was dizzy. I was fatigued. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't look at the screen. I almost fainted a couple of times. I felt pins and needles in my arms and legs. I couldn't form a sentence sometimes, like simply there were no words in my head. I couldn't find basic words like food or, I don't know, find any word that you would use in day-to-day life, and I couldn't form a sentence. Like, it would take me 5 minutes to think about that. And the symptoms were like different from day to day, and obviously because I was not a spiritual person back then, this happened pre-dream. I obviously researched what was wrong with me. I went to the doctors multiple times. They did multiple tests and they couldn't find anything wrong. Every time I would Google my symptoms, some diseases or chronic illnesses would pop up, and I would be again afraid that something is happening to me. And I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know what to do to help myself. And I was highly afraid that, I don't know, I was gonna be sick or die. And again, I did multiple tests. I did blood tests, urine tests, and nothing. The tests all show that I was perfectly healthy. So if I was perfectly healthy, then what was wrong with me? So, surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, once I started reading more about witchcraft and the occult, and once I started opening up more to the paranormal or spiritual world, these all stopped. These all stopped. Like I never had them. They just one day just completely stopped. And I couldn't believe it. It was more like a wake up to reality. It was more like, okay, we know you took a 10-year break, but you need to get your shit together and you need to do this and that, kind of a thing. It was the universe's way of saying, I had enough and you have to do your thing. Like, this is your path. Stop ignoring it. And I knew that maybe someday it would come to this. I just didn't expect it to be like that. I didn't expect it to go through with physical symptoms, with all those emotions inside. I only told you about a couple of the physical symptoms I had, but there were many, many more. I would say maybe 30 or 40 weird symptoms. I even listed them all and gave the list to my doctor, which probably thought I was crazy, but so anyway, I was healthy. I'm still healthy right now. But I have been researching the spiritual world since that moment, and I've been really involved in, certain communities and relationship with the gods that I work with, or so I hope. And it's been really working out for me. I am not that arrogant, superficial, ignorant, or mean person anymore. I do have emotional intelligence now, or at least I've been trying to progress in that way. I can't say that I've done this by myself. It was just like one day all these things opened up in me, and I didn't know how. Like before those weird events started happening when I was 25, I had no intention of working on myself or seeing how flawed I was or trying to improve or doing shadow work or working on past trauma. None of that. I was completely oblivious. And I can't even say it was me who has done all that. Or maybe it was me, maybe it was my higher self who was trying to tell me that I need to get going, that I need to start working on these things. It was like I unlocked a part of myself that was hidden, that was locked for so many years. So yeah, spiritual awakening can be a bitch. It wasn't easy, and it's not over. It's never over, I think. I don't think there will be a point in your life where you can say, yeah, this is done. I am woke. There's no such thing. You will always have more to learn about yourself, about others, about the universe. So I will keep doing that. And I know sometimes it can be overwhelming, it can be scary. You can have panic attacks or anxiety attacks. You can feel like you're going crazy. Trust me, that has been happening a lot. But it seems like at least these symptoms I share with the majority of people in the spiritual community. So there's that. At least I know that I'm not alone. My advice would be to remember yourself, remember who you are, remember the progress that you made. If you need help, talk to someone. Doesn't matter who, but preferably someone who can actually understand you and give you good advice. If you don't have that someone, there are plenty communities online. Ask for help, ask for someone to talk to you, and I guarantee you that you will receive that help. But yeah, it's been quite a ride, and I kinda am looking forward to the rest of it, because I know there's gonna be more. Absolutely. So maybe in a couple of years I'll do another update on how this is going. Probably not great if it's a Mercury retrograde, am I right? But yeah, that's all I got for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one.